men. I got one more from her. Hang on. This was actually the one I wanted to get to you. Not that one. Is this it? I think this might be it. Let me see.
Distinction that you make, because there are different levels to protection, right? It's not just your physical safety. But I do hear them make this comparison, and you can tell me what you think about this. They're like, well, if somebody breaks in, it's me that's going to have to fight them, and it's me that's going to have to do this. And if you're on the street and you get harassed, it's me that's going to have to protect you, and I'm the one putting my life at risk. So because I put my life on the risk, or have the potential to put my life on the risk, you need to be submissive to me, you need to listen to me, you need to follow my instructions. And to me, that doesn't really sound like a fair trade. Because like, it's not even, it's the potential.
You get to live and he potentially dies. I would say that's more than a fair trade, but maybe that's just my misogyny coming out.
First of all, we're living in a different society nowadays where what are the chances are they're going to have to really actually fight somebody off?
Well, that guy who bled out on the street just recently, and that chick was I forget the name of that guy now, who just basically sat there and watched the guy get knifed and bleed out on the street on closed circuit TV. That was the most recent version of that. So maybe you were unaware of that. Maybe it's something that doesn't float around in your niche, but yeah, it just happened not too long ago. In fact, I could probably right now find accounts on Twitter where I could find exactly that happening. There's all kinds of video, like horrific, like Faces of Death, like type. Remember Faces of Death? Type Twitter accounts right now where I can find exactly that going on. Or you can probably find the next time some Subway video comes out and some guy just basically busts some chick in the mouth and none of the guys like come to her defense. What will be the first thing you say? Where are the men? How come they didn't step up? Boy, men today are just horrible. They're not standing up for the girl. Oh my gosh. They're not going to put their face in front of that guy's fists. That's your masculine duty to do that. Nope. You don't hear. Will that be what you say, Jamie? The next time there's a Subway video and some girl gets busted in the chops?
Most states you just call the police, men included. Like I
just call the police. Do you think you would have called the police on the Subway when that chick got busted in the face? Do you think that the police I'm sure the police eventually got called when the guy was knifed and bled out on the street at 4 a.m. in the morning. I forget the guy's name. It was like a liberal activist or something like that. I think that's why it was a big deal. I'm sure there's probably plenty of other examples I could probably pick up on. Well, you don't know. I think you should just call the police. Yeah. Okay. The police, the majority of which are male, who will put themselves in harm's way. Who will take the bullet, who will be infantrymen, who are in combat roles in the military. Well, we'll just call the military and have those men come in and take over.
I think most men would actually call the police, creating a very unrealistic.
Guys, let me ask you this. Most men, okay, we can take a quick poll here. So and I know what she's talking about. Okay, so let's do the scenario part. If you're upstairs and your wife's with you, and you hear an intruder downstairs, who is expected to go downstairs with a baseball bat or a gun or whatever? Is your wife? Or is it you? That's what she's getting at. Well, why wouldn't you just call the police? Because you're going to die before the police get there? And it's not about that. It's not about calling the police. It's not about it's about what is expected. It's about the male protector dynamic. And that's really what I'm going to dig into here in just a half a second.
Example. And they're asking you to pick from an example that's not realistic or reflective of how things play out. Yeah. They're saying, pick between this bad example and this bad example. And then you have people picking and they're like, see?
No, it's about picking a dynamic. It's about illustrating a dynamic. It's not about what you're picking and what you're not picking. The dynamic is this, Jamie, is that there is an innate, evolved male. I know she does look like Kim Kardashian. Male protector dynamic. It's the big head babies thing, right? Men were evolved for combat. We have more upper body strength. We have more. Like, here's the thing: is like, if that's the case, then how come more women aren't just stepping up to defend their boyfriends at the club? Take the knife. Well, how come it wasn't the girl that took the knife on the street and bled out? Whose responsibility is it? Is it more a man's responsibility to protect women or more a woman's responsibility to protect a man? Oh, well, you're giving unrealistic scenarios. Well, I don't think the knifing on the street was an unrealistic scenario, that one that happened not too long ago. It's probably more realistic than you think it is. But be that as it may, it's not the scenario, it's illustrating a point. The point is this, is that there is an innate expectation on the part of women for men to protect them. That's why they want dominant men. I know what her boyfriend looks like. He looks like a Chippendales dance. The guy is like definitely yoked. He's certainly ripped. You're not going with some fat dude. You're not with some guy who's like emaciated and skinny. You're with a dude who looks like looks anyways, like he could kick ass. You know, to his credit too, right? Women find muscularity sexy. They find height sexy as well, to the point where they will filter for it on dating apps or whatever on their dating habits. Yeah. The one of the most consistent attraction cue for women. And then I'm going to go and cite the holy word of Dr. David Buss. I know Mike Sartain would be proud of me. In The Evolution of Desire or whatever it was. Yeah, I think it was Evolution of Desire. In the 20 country survey, the most consistent attraction cue for women from Papua New Guinea to the Yanomamo tribesmen to, Japan, Tokyo, Japan, the number one, not the number one, but certainly the most consistent attraction cue is height, physical prowess, muscularity, facial symmetry, right? V taper. There's a reason for that. Why? Because women feel protected by a guy who's taller than them. They want the guy who can, slit throats and change diapers in the same day. They want a guy who makes them feel protected, but that comes with the potential for violence. Why is it that 50 Shades of Grey is so popular? Well, because the guy's got dark triad. Why? Well, he's got dark triad traits. Why does the Tinder swindler? Why did he get away with what he did? Because he's got dark triad traits. Because he's an asshole. Why is it that why does hybristophilia manifest only in women? Because they want a guy who has the capacity to off another dude. That's why. And that's what you expect. Hell, I want a guy. God, thank God, my son-in-law is big enough to take care of himself and take care of my daughter, take care of my baby. Good. Because she got a guy that's taller than her and wider than her and just more muscular than her. Awesome. You know who I expect to defend my daughter if there comes down to a physical altercation? Him. And she does too. And pretty much everybody else does as well. I don't know why this is some sort of revelation. It's not. Protection. Yes, that's the illustration of this. Well, they pick these unrealistic scenarios to prove a point. Would you rather we picked a more realistic scenario? How about the guy who died on the street and bled out? That's definitely real. Definitely something that happened. But anyways, again, it comes back to the protector dynamic. And that's really what I wanted to sort of dig into here just really quickly, is that the reason why the beta buck side of hypergamy is protection, provisioning, and parental investment. The protection part is the first one in that order, because men are the sacrificial sex. They are people say disposable, but they're certainly the sacrificial sex. They're expected to take the bullet. They're expected to be altruistic to the point of self-sacrifice. You want to know, okay, this is Rollo Tomasi talking. Okay, you can pick up more of this in my book, Religion. I think one of the reasons why Christianity is what it is because Jesus Christ sacrificed himself on the cross, bled out for all of our sins, right? A man sacrificed his life for the benefit of the collective, for the greater good of humanity. There's no more apex story than male self-sacrifice than dying on the cross and shedding his blood for our sins, right? From just a completely analytical perspective. I mean, you could get into spirituality all you want to later, but from an analytical perspective, there's no better archetype that I can think of than that kind of self. That is altruism. That's what it is. In this case, all of humanity is the tribe, right? A man died so that, what is it? Spock, right? It's just logical, the needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many. or the one, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. Yeah, self-sacrifice. Men are the sacrificial sex. Thank you. Women are the vulnerable sex. That's why that exists. The difference is that you've got feminism and gynocentrism saying that, well, it shouldn't be that way. You should just call the police. Well, the police are rely on another guy to come over and take the bullet for you, because largely it's going to be another dude. It's not going to be some chick, most likely. I mean, I would say there's not female police officers, but they're probably not going to be the ones that are going to go step in the line of fire. Certainly, male, if you talk about infantrymen or something like that, we think of men before we think of anyone else. Oh, maybe that's sexist, but that's simply that's reality. Well, it shouldn't be that way. Yeah, sure. Women should die as much as men do. Does that sound right? What if I said, when I see these initiatives to get women to be eligible for the draft, hey, it wouldn't be great if we could get women to sign up for selective services? Never happen. Will never happen. And usually it's because, some trad conservatives, social conservatives will say, well, it's a shame that men won't man up and we got to put women on the, on the front lines. Well, you want equality, then we should not have another single man die in combat until, I don't know, however many men have died in the last, World War I, World War II, Korea and Vietnam and the Desert Storm, until we have some sort of parity for the men who have died from World War I on up to where we're at right now, until women have sacrificed their lives to the same degree that men does, we're never going to have equality. They're not marching on Washington for that. Boy, wouldn't it be great? Yeah, it would be awesome. But just me saying that, it's viscerally feels wrong. Men will literally go and put themselves physically, bodily in front of live ammunition to save women that they don't even know. It's it happened at the Las Vegas shooting. Happens. What was it? What is it? Something Holmes. I forget his first name. Holmes. The Aspen Theater shooting. Look at any of these mass shootings. You'll see incidences of guys putting themselves bodily in front of women that they don't even know, and it's just instinct. It's not like being on the Titanic and the ship's going down and you got time to think about it. These guys just throw themselves in front of bullets. You don't see women doing that. Women don't instinctively throw themselves in front of men that they don't know. Men do that because it's part of our, firmware or whatever. That's why. And I guarantee you, if I were to bring that up, it almost sounds offensive. Why would it be offensive for me to bring that up? Why would it be something those red pill guys? Why would that be a big deal? You want to be with the strong guy. You see the guy that I could show you her Instagram. You see the guy, she's, got a boyfriend, or I don't know if they're married or whatever, but she's definitely got a guy that looks like he could take care of himself and her. He's not huge, but the dude is definitely muscular. So if that's the case, then how come you're not with a guy who's this weedy little piece of shit? Because you want to be protected. You want to be with a guy who's tall and dominant, right? Height matters. I don't care what the hell Date Psych and Alex and them fuckwits talk about. Height is a big deal. Yeah, there are plenty of studies, like decades of studies about that. And that's the first thing. All right, let me get to these.